We all live in the town without streets. At least that's what I believe. Town Without Streets is one of Junji Ito's lesser-known stories, but for me, his scariest. And after I explain how the town without streets likely resembles some things in your own life, it could become a scary story for you also. It's a story about the horrors that come with the absence of privacy, and I think a kind of prophetic commentary on the age of social media. I say prophetic because it was first published in 1997, well before anything we would commonly call social media. But I promise you that what he has to say in this story is quite relevant to our current experience of social media. And I mean to you, right now, on YouTube, watching this video, and to me, sharing it. The story follows a girl named Psycho, who has a crush on one of the boys from her school. She quickly learns that the boy she has a crush on has been sneaking into her room, through her window, at night, and whispering into her ear, in an effort to enter her dreams and get her to unconsciously like him. And already the central problem that the story is trying to solve is introduced. That is, the problem of privacy. But the story almost immediately takes a sharp turn when the boy that's entering her dreams is murdered by someone who calls himself Jack the Ripper. She's horrified by what happened, but time passes, and Psycho finds herself in a new and what initially seems to be a completely unrelated predicament. Her family has taken up spying on her, peeping on her from her closet and drilling little holes in her wall to watch her from. Now, similar to how the imagery of a boy sneaking into a girl's room so he can be in her dreams leaps into what initially appears to be completely unrelated imagery of family members poking holes in her wall to spy on her. All of it is in fact related to the central problem of privacy. And that's really how the rest of this story is going to go. All kinds of bizarre and sometimes seemingly unrelated imagery will appear. But it all comes back to the problem of privacy. So naturally, Psycho gets sick of being peeped on and decides to go and visit her aunt who lives in a different town. But upon arriving, she realizes the town is very different from the town she remembered. For one, there are no roads. As a result, the only way to get from one place to another is to go through buildings, including through people's homes, like while they're there. And as a result, there is no privacy for anyone in this town. The other thing that's different about this town is that everyone is wearing a mask. And it's easy to see why one is meant to be the solution to the other. That is because anyone and everyone can walk through your home while you're sleeping, while you're in the bathroom, while you're whatever. It becomes natural to try and find a way to seize back some privacy. And one answer to that problem is anonymity, or wearing masks. Because it doesn't matter what you do or say or how you look in the public eye if you can't be identified. And this is where I want to begin suggesting the terrifying parallel between Junji Ito's Town Without Streets and the world you and I are inhabiting right now. We've constructed spaces online in which we create profiles we share intimate parts of our lives with, often not just family or friends, but to really anyone who might feel like passing through. Indeed, we share our thoughts and opinions and put them to the scrutinous eye of complete strangers. And because we're human and flawed, we naturally don't want to be accountable for everything we do and say, because some of what we do and say will be a mistake. It'll be wrong. And even when it's not wrong, we still might fear being identified with and accountable for those things we do and say. So one solution to that problem is anonymity. It's how I've presented myself to you in this video, and it's how most of you, if you comment below, will present yourself to me, other commenters, and any of the other people who pass through this online space. Now, while making her way to her aunt's house, Psycho encounters a mob of masked townspeople trying, and eventually succeeding in breaking into a couple's home and tying them up. The couple is trying to keep the town out of their house, and this is the first disturbing observation of what no privacy does to people. It can turn them into reckless mobs. I don't need to share examples of ways in which users of social media can behave like reckless mobs. We're all aware of it. We've all witnessed it. Suffice it to say that when there is no privacy in a space and everything is public, then the public will not only try to seize control of that space, But the public will also try to dictate which individuals are in that space and how they behave in that space. And that can get dangerous and sometimes catastrophic. Soon enough, Psycho finds her aunt's house, but her aunt is different, and not in a good way. She's given herself to living completely naked. You see, while one solution to the problem of privacy is masked anonymity, another solution is complete naked exposure. And like the disturbing behavior we witness from the masked mob, Psycho's naked aunt exhibits her own set of disturbing side effects. For one, she's oddly concerned with influencing Psycho into behaving like she does, that is, getting naked. She also gets off on the thought that people are watching her. And I can't help but be reminded of the social media influencers who are not only concerned with influencing and perhaps getting people to think and behave like they do, but also with being seen or getting as many views, as many eyes on them as they can possibly manage, all while exposing what often feels like too much of their lives to us. Perhaps some things are just better left private. When Psycho's aunt realizes that Psycho isn't interested in being a follower, she chases Psycho away with a knife. While running away, Psycho encounters a final group of monsters. At first, all she sees of them is elongated heads facing peepholes. But the heads look up, exposing their numerous eyes. And that brings the horror full circle. It doesn't matter how you participate in this space. You can create content, you can make comments, and you can do those things anonymously or not. But even if you're merely just here to look and nothing more, even those people don't walk away unscathed. Even they're monstrously transformed by this space. And I think it's because if you agree that there are some things that should remain private, then viewing those things that one ought not be privy to is perverse, and in that sense monstrous, whether those private things are offered up voluntarily or not. Psycho continues running and meets a masked man who had helped her through the town earlier. He takes off his mask and reveals himself to be Jack the Ripper. Because hidden under those masks and no-name usernames and ambiguous profile pictures could be anyone. But Psycho's aunt comes from behind and stabs him. The story ends with Psycho leaving town and her aunt staying. And so I have to ask you, is it just me? I think the social media spaces we've created between the anonymity, the mob mentality, the oversharing and overexposing of oneself, the obsession with views, the truly dangerous and masked hiding in plain sight, and the voyeuristic nature of it all. I think it bears striking resemblance to Ito's horror-filled world. Is it just me, or are we all living in the town without streets? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. This is my first video, so if you'd like me to produce more stuff like this, then like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.